it'd be great to see Caleb Farley after a good day Wednesday and a not good day Thursday to see how he could wrap it up.
Paul, there's a lot to preview here, just based on what's been a nice week of work. Both teams probably feel like they accomplished quite a bit. I know the Titans do, albeit Vrabel said yesterday's practice sucked. I still get the sense that they felt like they held their own in practice number one. With that being said, is there one or two players that comes to mind that you say, okay, based on what I saw Wednesday, Thursday, here's who I hope the Titans hope that they carry over with some good play on Saturday?
Well, the first one that comes to mind for me, Hutton, would be Caleb Farley, though I don't know if they're going to roll him out there. It'd be great to see Caleb Farley after a good day Wednesday and a not good day Thursday to see how he could wrap it up on a Saturday night. And he's not going to be, whoever's out there is not going to be seeing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But that'd be terrific. But I don't know if we'll see Caleb Farley. I suspect not. So I'm going to go back. Rashad Weaver, to me, is maybe the story going in. You want to see if he carries over what he did last week. And you didn't see much really from edge rushers in these practices outside of maybe some batted balls and getting their arms up in the stuff that we were focused on anyway. But can Rashad Weaver carry over that game? Can Logan Woodside do more? I don't know if the Bucs are going to blitz like the Falcons did, but we also know, Bruce Arians has come out and said he's not playing his guys. So Ndamukong Suh, Golson, Jason Pierre-Paul, Devin White, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, they're not going to be out there. So there's going to be much less, and that's a damn good thing for the Titans, by the way, because even if the Titans played their frontline offensive line, who's available right now, they'd be playing a second-team offensive line, and Tannehill or Woodside would be under pressure. I think Woodside should face less pressure this week, not because the offensive line's any better, but because the Bucs, a very good defensive front, are going to be sitting all of these guys who are their star players. Not that their second-level guys aren't good, but there's some premier front guys who are going to be in ball caps. And I don't suspect they're going to blitz the way Atlanta did, because they don't need to blitz, generally speaking, because of all the guys I just listed.
Yep. And you're right to mention Caleb Farley, because he saw more significant 11-on-11 work this week than he's had in any time previously. And I am curious to see if they let him loose, because that's the one last hurdle, is to see him in a game. And he got significant work in 11-on-11 this week based on reports and what you've told us. Can they loosen the reins a bit on him early? You don't have to play him long, but gradually build him up to preseason game number 3 and have him ready, because he is such a key piece to their overall defensive effort in the secondary.
They've also got to make a decision here, and it feels like it's already made. But Chris Jackson is the nickel right now, and there's been no movement from that. Elijah Molden behind him. If Farley is going to take over that starting slot opposite Jenkins, then wither Christian Fulton. If they're going to start working him inside, it's got to be now when they get back to Nashville right away. Otherwise, he hasn't worked inside at all. They've only got one more game where they could get him out there in the slot. So I think he could wind up in a no man's land, even if Farley doesn't start the season on the outside. Isn't a starter per se. I would think he'd play a little bit, so then you'd be in some kind of platoonish situation with Fulton, or they scratch Farley for a game or two or whatever, and Fulton plays. But what happens when Farley's healthy? One of them is going to play, and one of them is going to play substantially less and or not at all. They didn't draft Farley in the first round to play him not at all. He's eventually going to be in there and playing, and if Fulton hasn't played in the slot at all, then he's your third outside cornerback waiting for somebody to get hurt. Yep. That's a pretty low-ranking spot for a second-round pick who was going to be part of your answer at cornerback.
Completely agree. And we should not overlook Chris Jackson. I got talking with multiple people about just his overall camp and I know he's been featured quite a bit in your reporting, Paul. He's played well in camp, and Elijah Molden will have to, and this goes without saying, he's got to outplay him. But this is a big game in order to do that, because Molden had a good day on Wednesday in Tampa. And it seems though Jackson brought more physicality to yesterday's practice. We certainly know that he did with Antonio Brown. All that being said, they're different skill sets, right? Like Jackson's got some savvy to him, but he is faster than Elijah Molden. Elijah Molden, though, is just right place. He's always in the right spot. He's got the mentality to play the nickel spot. He's not nearly as athletic as Chris Jackson can be in that position. But and what I mean by that, he's not top-end speed the way Jackson possesses, but he's in the right spots. Can he carry over what's been a good week of work for a rookie and potentially make this a legitimate battle for a starting role going into preseason game number 3?
Or, can he find and I've thought for a long time it would probably be matchup-wise. Jackson's longer and faster, but Molden has more of a knack for it, kind of what you're talking about, more of an innate sense of how to cover in the slot. Could there be changes based on who's lining up in the slot on a given week against them? I'm curious about that. So here we're talking like, hey, it's going to be tough for Molden. It's going to be really tough for Fulton once Farley's all the way in. These are tough things for Molden and for Fulton, but this team had real depth problems at cornerback last year, and now we're talking about 2 potentially good cornerbacks who might have to wait their turn, with Breon Borders behind them waiting, who's had a very good camp, kind of leveled off a little bit now. But, Titans fans should be thinking, hey, we've got some depth at corner a year after damn Jonathan Joseph was back there, unable to run. So that's a good development. It kind of mirrors what's going on in wide receiver, where they're suddenly deep with guys who look like they could legitimately play if you needed them to. They're not A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, but the drop-off is not nearly as precipitous as we would have thought.
Paul, you go into one practice and you might focus in on the defense. You go to the next practice, you're going to focus in offensively with the Titans. Going into this preseason game number 2 against Tampa, what is your initial line of focus with this game and what you're looking for out of the Titans?
Well, in a game, you can't help but really follow the ball. You try to get yourself once in a while to look at, okay, what is Jeffrey Simmons doing? I'm working on something about Jeffrey Simmons that I'm going to write for Monday, I imagine. So I'll try to, if he plays, always a big if he plays, I'll try to watch some specific Jeffrey Simmons plays. These cornerbacks I'm interested in. A lot of it, Chad, depends on that damn lineup. And they don't give you a list ahead of the game, really, who's scratch. So you're kind of watching and writing down in the moment, like, who the hell's on the field. Some of those offensive linemen, too. I mean, I'm curious about Quesenberry and Sambrailo, if they would start to try them inside, particularly Sambrailo. I know he still maybe have a snap count on him, but they've talked about him as a swing guy who could play guard. Now, he might be the starting right tackle right now, but once they're fully healthy and if Radens eventually gets to be right tackle, could Sambrailo play guard? I don't know if they're at a point where they could even try that. So those are some of the things. I'm also, we're very locked in on Weaver, but what about the other pass rushing outside guys? And, I don't know if we see Landry. I think we certainly don't see Dupree. But you'd like to get some pass pressure on Blaine Gabbert, who is a statue back there.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.